Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you to an all-new edition of WAWR Week Radio. Guys, happy Sunday to everyone. And guys, before we introduce our featured guest of the program, we do have to remind everyone that this show is brought to you by FightSaga.com. Guys, for all latest boxing news, please go visit FightSaga.com on the daily. But guys, this would not be an episode of WAWR Week Radio on Sunday without the counsel of our featured guest, El Maestro, Coach James Gogue. James, how are you doing, brother?
Hey, Joe, I'm doing good. Man, there was oh my God, there was just so many fights yesterday. You know what, Joe, can I say this? Man.
Whatever, floor is yours, sir.
When they really ticks me off when these people, when these networks try to compete with each other and put all these fights, all these great fights going on at the same time. You can't concentrate and enjoy the experience of a great fight when you're going back and forth from one fight to the other. Like yesterday, Lomachenko. I really wanted to see that fight with that Japanese guy. Then Tank Davis, of course, and that and the zone they had it with that. I missed that card because that was my lowest priority, but I really wanted to see all those fights plus the undercard fights. But it was impossible to concentrate and enjoy the experience for one fight when there were so many damn fights going on. Now the fights tonight, oh my God, they were great. They're the only Fox Sports 1 was the only show in town, and I got to sit down and absorb the great card they put on Al Heyman and PBC. So
yep, and unfortunately, boxing doesn't have a centralized commission or league like the NFL, and that was a lot of viewer complaint for so many decades and so many years that they couldn't enjoy all the fights going on with the games going on with the AFC, the NFC on two different channels at the same time. So the NFL came up with the NFL Sunday Ticket and the NFL Red Zone, so you could see everything that's happening as it goes on in real time. Unfortunately, with boxing, that just doesn't look like it's going to happen, Coach.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, on this week's edition of Post-Fight Analysis with expert trainer James Gogue, the 5-decade fight trainer will examine this past weekend's big fight action from Atlanta, Georgia, Las Vegas, Nevada, and Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico on DAZN. But before we mention any of that, just like you just brought up, Fox Sports on PBC on Fox Sports just put forth a brilliant fight card at the Armory in Minneapolis, Minnesota, of all places. And in the main event of the evening, go figure, Coach, a Cuban prospect, red hot, has a crowd in Minneapolis, Minnesota?
Yeah. Yeah, really. I was shocked me.
David Morrell Jr. defends his interim WBA super middleweight title, interim champion after 5 fights, right? Interim title against the overmatched and big mouth Mario Caceres, who was also undefeated coming into this bout, but he makes light work of him, KOing him in the first round. Gogue, do you like David Morrell Jr.?
So far, so good. Joe, he's a very athletically talented southpaw, okay? Comes from that Cuban national, program. All the fighters are seasoned very, very well on the fundamentals of range and distance, footwork, working off your jab, feints, all that stuff there, man. By the time they turn pro, you ain't got to teach them. They know how to do that. They know how to use the ring, okay? But from what I've seen, a couple fights, he's an explosive puncher, especially with that left hand. Okay, just a naturally gifted, athletic fighter with a good amateur pedigree. That's why he was able to fight for this. That's why they were able to move him fast to fight for this belt. You know what I mean? He was that good. They figure, we ain't got to wait. We ain't got to go through the ranks, the 4s, the 6s, the 8s, and all that. They figure he was good enough where he could go right to the belt. It's rare when you get fighters like that, Joe, that could go, that could be fast track. Guys like Lomachenko, Jeff Fennick, Inoue was like that, and two others. But majority of the times, when you're a young prospect coming up, no, you get seasoned the right way and going through the 4s, the 6s, the 8s in your development and everything. You don't just go, from the high school to the pros. It doesn't work like that.
That's right. And it's funny. Mario Caceres coming into this fight, he was a loudmouth, right? 12-0, who was talking about, well, he wanted to face Canelo Alvarez and, quote, not the freckles off of his face, end quote. Well, David Morrell Jr. just put a halt to that.
Yeah.
So
knockout. Whoa.
Yeah, it was scary, actually, where it looked like he tore his ACL in his right leg when he fell and hit the canvas. But congratulations, Dave Morrell, closing the show in style in front of a packed house at the Armory in Minneapolis. And in the co-main event, Brandon Glanton, undefeated, upsets in a split decision F8-4 Apochi. In the cruiserweight division in the fight of the evening. Coach, did you like what you saw there?
Oh, it was back and forth. It was a battle of will, Joe. I'm surprised how good that ex-football player is, because you get football players trying to learn trying to be a professional fighter. 99 out of 100, they're usually a fucking fraud or joke. But this kid, he showed me he had a fighter in him. Okay, to me, maybe he had an amateur background. Maybe he had fights when he was younger, and he decided to go into football. My heavyweight was like that, Lawrence Claybay.
Yeah,
the heavyweight, the captain of the '96 Olympic team. with Floyd and Fernando Vargas, David Reed, and all them other talented guys they had on that.
What a great class.
Yeah, Clay, he boxed when he was a little kid, quit to play football. Then after his football career was done, he took a few years off and got back into boxing. Then what do you call it? When he got back into boxing, he became a 2-time national champion, a world amateur champion, and was made the Olympic team. Then he turned pro. Okay, he was seasoned. This guy, I don't know if he had an amateur background or not. You know what I mean? Joe, personally, I think he did. You can't look like that, skilled like that guy did, for just coming off the gridiron, taking off your shoulder pads and your helmet and putting a pair of 10-ounce gloves and rubbling. Okay,
so you're saying he's no Seth Mitchell?
Okay, that's a perfect example. Perfect example, or Dominique Brazil. Okay, well, Dominique Brazil got he got some experience in the amateurs and everything, but this kid, man, he showed me something. I never heard of the guy. I never heard of both guys, but they showed me the high competitive spirit to win, the will to win, the mental and intestinal fortitude and toughness to battle it out in a tough fight. Momentum was going back and forth. Yeah, it was excellent fight. And I missed that Gallimore fight, but I saw the Wars fight against that Filipino guy. That was Want to hear this, Joe?
Let's hear it, sir.
Top Rank is the best when it comes to developing young talent. I'm going to tell you this right now.
Yep.
They're better than Golden Boy. They're better than PBC. They're better than Heyman. All right? Yep. They're the best. They're better than Eddie Hearns. Brad Goodman and Bruce Trampler, especially Brad. He has that knack for developing fighters the correct way, young prospects. Okay, like this Omar Juarez. Man, they sure didn't move him fast.
Yeah.
Don't you think he should have been in fighting off TV in 8-rounders, still developing his craft against a lesser competition? Let him mature, let him grow, let him mature physically, mentally, let him get physically stronger. They put him in with this tough Filipino guy. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But Brad Goodman, let me tell you, man, he's the best. He knows when to pull the trigger at each stage of your career. He knows when you had enough 4-rounders, when you had enough 6-rounders, and he knows how to get you those right opponents in the 6-round stage, the 4-round stage. When you go to the 8-round stage, he knows how to get them right opponents to season you. Then when you get to the 10-round stage, of course, he knows how to season you. They got that perfect mix of of getting you the perfect opponents at each step of your career. Now you get nothing against Ron and Tom Brown, great matchmakers, and they put on great fights for TV and everything. But me personally, if you're not ready, if you're not physically strong or mentally mature enough to fight for them guys, they're going to put you in a tough fight, and they're going to test you. And sometimes the result might not be the result you wanted, like tonight with Omar Juarez, a young prospect. I know Omar since he was a little kid when I lived in the Rio Grande Valley. You know, he's from Brownsville. Good little talented fighter, ballsy kid. He showed me something tonight, Joe. He showed me, you know, some composure, some poise going against this tough, seasoned, hard-hitting Filipino guy. Okay, and he showed me some balls to get off, you know, get back from that knockdown and battle back and to keep his cool. But he still wasn't seasoned enough yet to fight a guy like that. Everything, and but you know that's why, like I said, Brad Goodman and Bruce, they're the best. Don Chargan, oh man, he's
God rest his soul. Absolutely.
Yeah, he's in a class by himself, man. He knows how to season you the right way and everything. But yeah, this fight right here, I think they pulled the trigger a little bit too quick. He took a loss, but I guarantee you he'll get better from this loss if they keep faith in the kid and bring him back and start developing, him more. But hey man, everybody one loss. You're a bum and all that, but shit, you get better off those losses. You get better off those losses and everything.
That's right. And what Coach Gogue is referring to is Ali Rivera at 21-5 hands the welterweight prospect Omar Juarez his first professional loss by way of majority decision. And it was a great fight, a very competitive fight, and a close one. Nothing to hang your head low about. And I have a feeling Omar Juarez is going to be back. Also, congratulations to Nathaniel Gallimore, who gets the majority decision over undefeated super welterweight prospect Leon Lawson. Great night of boxing, though, on Fox Sports. And once again, Gogue, this just solidifies it in my mind. When you're dealing with Al Heyman and PBC, sign them to a single-year contract because this is what you get. Guys, it's no coincidence that look at the schedule and look at what we're getting. In both Showtime and Fox, in their dealings with Heyman and PBC, these are contract years. And guys, look at what we're getting. Look at the product. Far superior from what we saw last year and the year before. So,
excellent fights.
Excellent fights. And I tell you what, our friend Antonio joins us this evening from Cali. He says another great Sunday night with the dynamic duo. Thank you so much for joining us, brother. Antonio, God bless you, brother. And so I tell you what, we've got so much to cover, Gogue. So let's move on to the big topic of the day. It was at the State Farm Arena in Atlanta, Georgia, in a clash for the WBA regular junior welterweight title. Gervonta Davis scores 3 knockdowns to stop the very tough, unbeaten Mario Barrios in the 11th round. Gogue, did this fight meet your expectations? Was it everything you thought it was going to be?
Yeah. Only thing is, I thought that Davis tank little too hesitant. Wasn't really walking him down like Floyd wanted him to do. Hey, man, Floyd had to urge him. Hey, man, you got to walk this guy down. Remember, Floyd came in there in the 9th round saying, "Hey, on the unofficial scorecards, you're down. You gotta show me, you want to be great." But he was kind of hesitant. Even Davis in the post-fight press conference said he was kind of like, the guy's bigger than him. He didn't want to get caught with a shot, so he's being extra careful. That's what I was going to say, Joe.
Well, when you look, Gogue, when you looked at them meeting in the center of the ring for the first time, and I know we talked about a 4.5 height and reach advantage, but Gogue, in my eyes, it looked more like about 6 inches. I think BoxRec lied to us, brother.
It don't matter. 6 inches, 12 feet. If you get the right distance, it doesn't matter, okay? and he was waiting too much. Okay, he didn't press the action. He didn't walk him down like Floyd wanted him to do, or his coach wanted to do, Calvin Ford. So, but when he got his distance right, you can see the results. Oof, explosive puncher. Tank is.
Yep, it was a slow start for Davis, who needed a few rounds to fully adjust to Barrios's much bigger frame.
Yeah,
but the fight began to change from rounds 5 through 8.
Yeah.
And in the 8th round, he finally landed a big right hook that dropped Barrios. Mario immediately got up and was dropped for a second time with a big left hand. Gogue, what did you think when you saw that in round number 8?
The end was near. Just a matter of time. Because Barrios is starting to wear down. Because, like I said, Joe, remember last week in the show, I told him he's got to make a stand on this Tank. He can't let Tank back him up all the time. Okay? He's got to, when they're in the trenches, he's got to make a stand. Hurt him, get his attention, deter him from pressing the action. Okay, but Mario Barrios, like I thought, he ain't got no damn inside game, man. You know what I mean? To stay in there and bang with Tank. His is range and distance and everything. And when you ain't got no weapons in your arsenal to deter a bully like Tank, he's just gonna keep marching forward. And eventually, you're going to wear down, start breaking down. Then once Tank hits you, the fat lady starts singing and the party starts closing down. So. Well,
you know what was surprising, though, is, Tank Davis, the following round seemed to take the entire round off, allowing Mario Barrios to get back into the fight. Boy, Floyd took great exception to that and immediately came to the ring, came to his corner and said, "Hey, man, what are you doing? You need to take this guy out. You need to put pressure on him, man. You're losing the fight on the unofficial scorecards." Tank Davis turned to him and said, "You must be joking." And he goes, "Hey, man, you want me to lie to you? You want me to tell you the truth?"
I don't remember Floyd saying that. I don't recall Floyd saying that. I just remember. Did he say that, Joe? I don't remember.
Yep, he sure did. And we're being joined by Peter from Tijuana. Right on. Thank you for joining us this evening. He said Mayweather looked like Mr. T with all the gold chains on.
Yeah.
Tell you what, I don't know if I can get used to the bearded stubbly head of hair. This version of Floyd. Floyd, just shave it off, brother. Look like pretty boy Floyd again, man. That just I don't like the look, man. He looks like Isaac Hayes, Shaft, right?
Yeah.
And so Antonio asked this question, Coach: was what Mayweather did in Davis's corner legal? He made Davis's coach Calvin Ford look incompetent. Your thoughts on that, Coach?
Was it illegal? Well, the commissions, you can't have somebody just, look, in order to work a corner or to give instructions in a corner, you got to have a license, okay? All right. But you know what? The commissions ain't going to have, they're not, there's a lot of rules about the commissions don't enforce. And Floyd Mayweather, hey, man, you think they're going to tell him get the hell out of the corner? Hell no. And as far as making Calvin look incompetent, nah. Calvin was saying the same thing. Press him, walk him down. But it took Floyd, to get Gervonta's attention to do what he wanted Floyd to do. So it was a motivational talk, a pep talk. Like, hey, go knock this motherfucker out. You know what I mean? You want to be a star? Go knock him out. Close the show, and he did.
That's right. So after Mario Barrios regained composure, worked his way back into the fight, then comes the 11th round, the championship rounds. Davis went right back to work with a sense of urgency, fully focused on securing the knockout. He connected with an uppercut to the body, and the tall, lanky Barrios went down, obviously in pain. Gogue, could you smell that the end was near when that happened?
Oh, that was it, man. He was wearing down already, Joe. When you get hit with that left uppercut to the body, I said that, man. I always thought that was one of the best punches to hit your opponent with. A guy like Tank, short, stocky, explosive. Land that. Barrios is taller, so when you want to chop the tree down, that's one of the best punches to land if you're a southpaw. That left uppercut to the body, and Barrios was already wearing down. When he got hit with that shot, that was pretty much the end.
Yep, indeed. And so he got back up. Credit to Mario for having the courage to beat the count. But then he starts to, get the full assault of the Tank. And he, looked like he almost wanted to go down, doubling over in pain, was visibly in pain. And then, the referee in charge stepped in and called a halt to the bout in one of the most strange stoppages I've seen in a while. What were you thinking when you saw referee Thomas Taylor step in and call a halt to the bout, and you already saw Tank Davis starting to celebrate in the corner when Mario Barrios didn't go down a fourth time? Did you think that was a little odd, Coach?
Nah, he was hurt, Joe. Look, man, Mario Barrios had a lot of balls to get back from that knockdown when he got hit with that uppercut to the stomach. That took the wind out of him. He wasn't going to recover from that. So when he got hit with a left hand, look, you're trained to look at the facial expressions of a fighter, okay? The referee. They know when he's hurt. Okay, yep. I'm not in that damn ring. I can't see his facial expressions, 3 feet away, but that referee did. And he saw that. Oh yeah, man. Why? And no use taking more punishment. So he did the right thing. You know what I mean? Because he was gonna get hurt real bad if he didn't step in.
Yep. And to support your thoughts, Gogue, Barrios made no excuses after the fight. He said this, quote, "I've never been a hater. Congrats to Tank. He came here and did his thing. It was nothing short of an exciting fight, and that's exactly what both of us predicted. He was the better man tonight, and I'll definitely be back. Tank is explosive. He caught me slipping, and that's what happens in boxing. At the end of the day, one punch can change a fight, and that's exactly what I felt happened. Congratulations to him," end quote. Classy response from a very classy team. And I tell you what, I want to see Mario Barrios again after this performance. Gogue, what are your final thoughts on this eye-opening performance for both gentlemen?
Great. Tank, his exposure, his popularity goes up, okay? Packed the place, sold out the place. Pay-per-view. I'd like to know what the pay-per-view numbers are. Joe, I'm going to be honest, man. I don't like bullshit and sugarcoating nothing. To call him a 3-time world champion, to me, is disrespectful, man, because I've been around this shit a long time, man. Guys like Leonard, Roberto Duran, guys that were multiple division champions, the guys that really earned their belts the hard way, okay? Then you got you got guys like this generation nowadays, man, especially all the Heyman fighters, you know what I mean? They win a regular title, in 3 weight divisions or interim title. They call themselves the 3 weight division title. A 3 weight division champion. Now, come on, man. Josh Taylor just put on an excellent performance against Jose Ramirez for the undisputed junior welterweight champion of the world. He is the champion. All right, he earned it. He's the best. Now, for them cheerleaders on Showtime announcing the fight to call this guy a 3-time world champion, that's disrespectful, man. Totally disrespectful, man. Not, you know what I mean? Taylor and this, but you can't blame Gervonta. You can't blame, you got to blame the sanctioning body, the WBA, man, for ruining the credibility of their belts. You know what I mean? Come on, man, it's bullshit.
Yep.
Joe, honestly, I talked to this WBA official. I don't want to mention his name. He goes, you know what, man? We created them belts, to give fighters opportunities.
That was the theory, but it's being abused. Yep.
Yeah, but the thing is, a lot of them fighters, that because they win them belts, they can't without them belts, they never would have made those. That they would have without those belts, winning them, the minor league belts, they would have never made no big money before. So it goes both ways. You know what I mean, Joe? So, but
Absolutely.
me, you motherfucking earn it the right way, like all the legends have done it in the past. Okay. All right. If you can't do it, then hey, man.
Hey, it's the hurt business for a reason. And Gogue, this is one of the reasons why I don't cover local events in San Antonio anymore. Because I recently had a discussion with a lot of fans about this. And once again, you go back to the very first world champion in San Antonio boxing history, Robert El Piquín Quiroga.
Yeah, Robert.
Okay, yeah, great fighter. Won his belt the hard way by beating Kid Hakeem in the Hemisphere Arena in 1991, and that was Ring Magazine's Fight of the Year. Then you look at the second champion in San Antonio boxing history, John Michael Johnson, beating Kevin Kelly at Caesar's Palace, pulling off the upset, winning the IBF.
Junior Jones.
Oh, I'm sorry, my apologies, Junior Jones. You're absolutely right. And then you look at Jesse James Leija, beating all-time great Azuma Nelson.
Yeah.
Okay, well, who did Mario Barrios beat to win his world championship, quote unquote?
That Ahmed, I don't know, Akhmadev, that guy. I couldn't
Batir
pronounce it.
Akhmadov? Yeah. See, that's I rest my case.
Yeah.
Guys, look, to become a legitimate world champion, at least the way it was in the past, well, you had to earn your bones in this industry. You had to beat the incumbent champion.
Exactly.
And beat him decisively. Before we talk about Floyd's post-fight quotes, what are your final thoughts on that, Gogue?
No, look, I'm old school, man. I came, like I said, I came up in the '80s in this racket. I started coaching in '88. I followed the sport since the '70s, man. And I started getting involved in the '80s, like I said, and it was the last golden years of boxing. Were the '80s and everything, and I just remember everything was so authentic. Now, man, the sanctioning bodies like Mauricio and Gilberto, the way they just created these belts, man. There's no legitimacy, and the fans out there don't even know who the hell the champions are, man.
Well, in my opinion, Coach, why don't state titles take the place of those bogus? I mean, honestly, do you remember back in the day when it was something big when you became the Texas state welterweight champion or the California state heavyweight champion? And what about the North American titles?
Yeah.
Those used to mean something. That meant you were on the cusp of competing for a major world title. In my opinion, it should go back to that rather than creating interim championship, regular championship, whatever the hell that means. You know what? Talk about the importance of those North American titles when you were coming up.
Shit, back then, if you want an NABF or a USBA, IBF USBA belt or Continental America's WBC, man, number one, you had to fight a guy in the top 10 to win one of those belts. And if you won one of those belts, it pretty much put you in line to get a title shot. That's how important them belts were. The NABF, the North American Boxing Federation, they have a relationship with the WBC. The USBA, which is IBF belt. The WBC Continental Americas, that was an important belt. You won those belts, okay? You did something. You beat somebody, and that'll put you in the top 10 and top 5, top 10 in the ratings where you could get a title shot. Now them belts are replaced by the WBA regular belt, interim belt, the gold belt. What else? The WBA gold belt, whatever, and the WBC. What do they got? The email champion belt,
silver champion, silver belt,
silver, the email champion belt. What else they got?
Now they've come out with a Latino title, Coach.
Look, man, the only two organizations that are keeping it real, authentic, is the WBO and the IBF. They don't have all that BS. Okay.
Credit to Paco as well as Daryl Peoples for trying to maintain a level of integrity in the sport of boxing.
Exactly.
Well, it seems like an oxymoron at this point. But Gogue, I'm going to read you now Floyd Mayweather's quotes when someone asked Tank Davis, who are you going to fight next? Tank Davis gave the appropriate response and said, well, I leave that up to my team. They're the ones who determine who I fight. I just go in the ring and fight. Mayweather said this, quote, it's about working smarter, not harder. Everything in-house. Mayweather Promotions, PBC. We're all one family, so we're not going to make another company great. We have plenty of fighters who are at 40, 35, and 30. We'll continue to fight the fighters that we got to fight, but we're going to keep everything in-house. End quote. So we get a question from our brother Antonio, who says this. Coach, what do you think of Mayweather's comments of Davis will only fight in-house boxers with Mayweather Promotions and PBC? And is this a ploy for more money from other promotions for possible fights? Thank you, Antonio. Your thoughts, Coach?
And boxing right now, it's every network has their own league, okay? PBC with Showtime and Fox, Eddie with the Zone, Top Rank with ESPN. It's fractionalized, man. That's what's killing boxing and everything, okay? It never used to be like that, okay? But now, jeez. They're going to keep it in-house, okay? They're going to keep it in-house and Tank. They're going to keep Tank away from guys like Regis Prograis. They're going to keep him away with what's that guy's name? Josh Taylor, the real undisputed junior welterweight champion of the world. Definitely, they're going to keep him away from Lomachenko, Teofimo Lopez. Them are the fights, man, I want to see.
Yep.
Okay, them other guys are second stringers, man. Whoever they plan to fight in that PBC stable. You know what I mean? I wouldn't mind seeing him fight Regis. Now that would be a good fight, okay?
Yep.
But the other guys in who else do they got to fight over there, man?
Someone whom we're going to be talking about later on in the show, who's going to be taking on, who's going to be fighting on Showtime this Saturday night, Chris Colbert at 130 pounds.
Oh, fuck him. Who else?
Well, that's it. It's a short list. Do you really want to see him fight Robert Easter?
Oh, God.
Exactly.
Who else?
Coach, it's a very short list. And honestly, I can't think of anyone. Like, look, Coach.
Mikey Garcia. I like to see him fight Mikey Garcia.
Mikey Garcia at 140 pounds. But, guys, everyone knows Mikey Garcia is going to demand to fight Tank at least $7 or $8 million.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen, in my opinion. Guys, get ready for this at 140 pounds. Tank versus Adrian Broner. Get ready for it. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
But Coach, look, there comes a point, and I understand this, right? And Don Chargan taught us Promotions 101, protect your ticket sellers, right? But there comes a point in time where your fighter becomes proficient enough where you can trust him fighting anyone in the ring. In my opinion, Gogue, and correct me if I'm wrong, but Tank has proven that with his brilliant performance against Mario Barrios, he's not going to get embarrassed by anyone at 30, 35, or 40. Coach, do you think Floyd needs to let him go, just like Golden Boy did Canelo several years ago?
Look, man, they're not 130 pounds. He did it for that Santa Cruz fight. I don't think he could do it again, all right, Joe? When you start fighting at 140, 135, your body gets comfortable, okay? And for him to, lose that, to try to make 130, nah, it ain't going to happen. I can't see him doing it, me personally. And, they're going to keep it. They're going to do everything they can to protect their cash cow right now, Gervonta. He's a ticket seller. And that's not easy to do, man. I like to know what the numbers are, but I'm pretty sure they're growing. Okay.
Yep.
Mayweather, when he started off, he didn't all of a sudden do 2 million pay-per-views. He grew his pay-per-view brand, and that's what I see Tank doing. A lot of people are getting excited about Tank now. Okay, he's getting that momentum built up and everything, but they need to bring him back real quick. They just can't let him sit for 6 months. People forget about him. So
that's right.
And they're going to keep it in house, Joe. They're going to keep it in house, and you know what I mean. And that's what they're going to do.
Well, I tell you what's a damn shame, because when you look at how the best fighters, the biggest stars of boxing were created. Bob Arum, when he was handling Oscar De La Hoya in the 90s, well, as soon as he proved his worth against a guy who was dangerous like Ruelas, well, Bob knew right then and there, okay, it's time to let this guy loose. Even if he loses, he's not going to get embarrassed against anyone. He's going to make for a great competitive fight. And he's got the fan base where they're not going to ditch him and walk out on him, even if he loses. In my opinion, Coach, I think Tank is right there. I mean, how do you think he fares against the best at 35? Teofimo Lopez, Lomachenko, Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney. In my opinion, Coach, well, if he doesn't beat him, I think he's very competitive, all four. So what's the problem? Your opinion on that, Coach?
I agree with you, Joe. I can't disagree with you. He's ready for them guys. I think he'll blast out Ryan Garcia.
Yep.
Devin Haney, he'll beat. I feel he'll beat Devin Haney once he hits him on his chin. But the two other fighters, Lopez and Lomachenko, I don't know, man. We'll have problems with them guys. But that's what makes it great, Joe. These motherfuckers are calling themselves the Four Horsemen, or the Four. What's it called? The Four
Kings.
Four Kings, yeah, Four Horsemen, Four Kings, whatever. But they don't fight each other.
That's right.
How the hell are you gonna call your? How are you gonna say? How the hell are you gonna say it's a great rivalry when you don't want to fight each other? You guys don't got the balls, to grow some balls, to sign the contracts to fight each other, to prove yourself. All you guys do is talk, like Devin Haney today said on Twitter. Great matchups in the lightweight division. I responded to him like, yeah. By the time you guys make those matches, I'll be eligible for Social Security. You know what I mean? So, them fights should have been made by now, man. Okay, Teofimo, like his dad was saying last night in that interview, he probably only got 2 more fights at 135.
Yep.
That fight with Kambosos and Lomachenko. Then he wants to move up to 140 probably. So there goes that fight, unless Tank wants to fight Teofimo at 140. But like I said, man, it's so fractionalized right now, man. It's hard to make big fights, super fights where these motherfuckers should be fighting. But
well, I tell you what, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But congratulations to Gervonta Tank Davis in getting the 11th round TKO against the very game.
He looked
Mario
good.
Barrios. Looking forward to seeing both fighters in the ring again.
And you gotta commend Mayweather Promotions. They did a damn good job of building this kid. All the troubles he's got into the past, all the headaches they put up with him, not making weight, not being disciplined, not being a pro. Mayweather Promotions were doing their job, but he wasn't cooperating with them. Okay, being a pro. But now he's got his, and now he's kind of like figured it out. Okay, the light has turned on in his head. What do I got to do to be the best I can be, to be the superstar that Floyd wants him to be, that Leonard wants him to be? But Mayweather Promotions, they did a great job. You know me, I'm critical of Mayweather and Promotions, but you got to give props when props is due. And Leonard, he's done he's a hustler. He's done a damn good job of getting the word out there about this guy, promoting him. And Floyd, of course, doing the same thing and everything. So, yeah, like I said, you gotta, plus they sold that place out yesterday, or they packed the place. And like I said, Joe, it's hard to sell out venues if you're a fighter nowadays. Not too many fighters are ticket sellers. I could count them, one hand, 2 hands.
That's right. Credit to Floyd Mayweather Promotions as well as PBC. Leonard Ellerby, Floyd Mayweather. Yeah, they've really cultivated a genuine ticket seller in America. You could argue that aside from Errol Spence, he is the biggest American commodity in boxing at this time. Final question on this topic, Coach. No Lopez versus Haney. Thank you, Antonio, for your question. But yeah, from what I've been hearing, Teofimo Lopez is having a lot of trouble making 135 at this time. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me, Coach, if he decided to ditch 135 altogether after the Kambosos fight.
There's a big payday with a rematch with Lomachenko. He'll make the weight.
Well, I tell you what, that moves us to our next topic du jour. And the other big fight going on ESPN, Vasyl Lomachenko, the return of Loma. Boy, he gets the big TKO 9 over the customarily durable Masayoshi Nakatani. Yeah. Coach, this was a bit surprising, but can we actually say that the punishment he endured against both Teofimo Lopez and Felix Verdejo finally caught up to the brave Japanese fighter?
Yeah. Look, man, you can't – boxing is a sport where, you know what I mean, your body's not meant to take a lot of punishment, okay? There's only so many punches your body could take, your face could take before you might be a hard rock like that Japanese guy was, but you keep pounding that rock, it eventually cracks. And that's what happened last night, Lomachenko. That dude was giving Lomachenko a tough fight, but as the rounds went on, you could see the superiority in Lomachenko's skills, breaking down this guy. And, then he closed the show and put the nails in the coffin, with a spectacular knockout and everything. But, that tells me, it showed me he's back. Okay. He made a statement. Lopez had the toughest fight of his career when he fought this guy. Yep. And Lomachenko, flattened him last night after, when he started to get into rhythm and started getting going after the 5th round. So it just made that rematch more, appealing. That, because, they had they did that little thing on Lomachenko, that little that little documentary.
Yep.
That he was complaining he had a bad shoulder injury going into the Lopez fight, and the dad wanted to cancel it, but he didn't want to cancel it. And you could see, they showed him like he was in pain during training and this, and that could be a legit reason why he was very cautious the early rounds and didn't do nothing. Okay, but you get a healthy Lomachenko, and the way he fought last night, oh yeah, man, Lopez better be ready. Oh yeah, he's gonna be better in the rematch. What I'm trying to say.
Yep. And it was a very competitive fight. But in the 5th round, Lomachenko floored Nakatani for the first time with the left-right combination and then proceeded to lay the wood on the tough Japanese fighter. The end finally came in the 9th round when referee Celestino Ruiz called an end to the bout. Gogue, I tell you what, and afterwards, we saw Teofimo Sr. join the post-fight commentary, and he said, you know what? After watching this performance, seeing how well he did against Nakatani, I love the fight. I think I could convince my son to fight him again in a rematch at Madison Square Garden in December. Coach, your thoughts on how that plays out?
Let's just, you know what? That's a great fight, great matchup over there in Madison Square Garden. Oh yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. But I like to take it one fight at a time, Joe. Let him let's see him get healthy again from this COVID shit and get that. Let's see how he looks with Kambosos. Now, if he does his job like he's supposed to do, then you can start beating the drums and making this match with Lomachenko. Then Madison Square Garden, they're going to go where the money's at. Right now, Vegas, boy. they're paying the money because they're trying to revive that economy over there, and them hotels, the casinos are paying. They're gonna be paying a lot more than what I think Madison Square Garden is going to be paying.
Indeed. So congratulations to Vasyl Lomachenko. He improves his record to 15-2.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I can't wait to see what Bob Arum and Top Rank has in store for him next. Hopefully, Teofimo Lopez takes care of business against George Kambosos Jr. on 9/11. Is from what I'm hearing, that fight is being then pushed back even further to 9/11. Obviously, his wife is giving birth to his first child in November. Hopefully, that fight happens sooner rather than later. The big rematch between Teofimo Lopez and Lomachenko, God willing. In the co-main event, Gogue, you had Janibek Alim Anula take care of Rob Brandt in a one-sided mismatch, it looked like, getting him to retire after the 7th round. Gogue, is Janibek the goods at 160 pounds?
We'll see, Joe. Them guys over there from, where is he from, Russia or Uzbekistan?
Janibek, he's from Kazakhstan.
He's a cute little boxer. Southpaw, crafty. Yeah, let's see, Joe. I mean, Rob Brandt, Yeah. We'll see. Let's put him in some tougher competition. See how he does. But Buddy's done a good job, a very good job of transforming him into a professional. Okay, when I saw this guy fight when he first started, he typical amateur, running around the ring, didn't know what the hell, had no idea what the professional game was about. But he had a big amateur background, okay, and he had a lot of amateur. Like I said, he competed at the highest level. So guys like that, if you got a good professional trainer, your learning curve is a lot faster. You could fast track guys like him because of his age, his big amateur background. Then if you got a good professional coach like Buddy McGirt that knows how to help him adapt to the pro game, then you got a matchmaker like Brad Goodman that knows how to pick the right matches. Of course, then it all comes together, Joe. See, Joe, it's not only the fighter, it's the trainer and the matchmaker getting the right opponents and everything.
Indeed.
For your growth. Yeah.
Indeed. So note to Teofimo Lopez, respect the process. You're not there yet, kid. So I tell you what, we move on, and we're running out of time, Gogue, so we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on this. But on DAZN earlier that day in Guadalajara, Mexico, Julio Cesar Martinez El Rey gets the big TKO 6 against Joel Cordova. Gogue, what were your thoughts on DAZN and Matchroom Sports' first card in a collaborative effort with Canelo Promotions in Mexico?
I didn't get, Joe, I saw some of the fights. I didn't get to watch them all because, like I said, I had to prioritize which I felt were the best fights available. They were on the zone fights were on the totem pole, okay? I mean, they were the low man on the totem pole.
Of course.
They weren't a priority, so I really didn't get to watch it. But that little collaboration they're doing with Eddie and Canelo, to bring more big fights to Mexico, it's great. Because there's not a lot of big fights in Mexico. There's a lot of club shows going on everywhere. Off TV, and they got a lot of fighters in Mexico. So to bring big fights like that to Mexico, it's great. It's great. It's to open up a market in a boxing hungry country like Mexico. I'm all for it. And hopefully this is not a short-term experiment. It becomes a long-term investment in the country, boxing. Because Joe, there's a lot of club shows going on, a lot of kids I never heard of, I haven't even seen before, but I guarantee you, it's a numbers game. The cream is going to rise to the top eventually.
Like
Navarrete, like Emmanuel Navarrete. You know what I mean?
boy, that guy's a beast
Oh,
at 126.
oh, oh.
But I tell you what, Gogue, yeah, you're absolutely right. And if this accomplishes one thing, at least Canelo's undercards will now be entertaining with their involvement in Mexican fighters.
Yeah.
We're not going to see in chief support for a Canelo fight card. We're not going to see a Frenchman versus a Brit anytime soon.
Dick was putting that clown on there, man.
But I thought this was interesting. I want to get your thoughts on this. Eddie Hearn, right? Just a week ago was saying this about Inoue Inoue.
Oh, yeah.
He said this, quote, no, definitely not on the cusp of becoming any kind of global star because, unfortunately, he doesn't have the global profile. And unfortunately, he's in a weight division that doesn't really warrant becoming a global superstar. Okay, well, he had this to say about Julio Cesar Martinez. El Rey, he said this, quote, I think this kid is going to be a superstar. Eddie Reynoso is behind him. We're behind him. This kid is going all the way. End quote. Gogue, your thoughts on the hypocrisy and the ego of Eddie Hearn.
Full of shit. I posted something on Twitter on that. Hey, Eddie, I thought you said little guys can't make it big in boxing. You said that about Inoue. Now you're saying this about Martinez. Let's be consistent. Look, let me tell you, if he was promoting Inoue, he'd be praising him. Oh, he's the greatest fighter pound for pound in the world. But that's a typical promoter. You know what I mean? They'll knock up somebody else's fighter, but they'll put their fighters on pedestal. So he's full of shit.
And guys, of course, and look, it looks like our listeners, are more knowledgeable than Eddie Hearn at times. Our brother Peter, he says the last four kings, Barrera, Morales, Marquez, and Pacquiao, all became famous while competing at 126 pounds.
That's correct.
Thank you for that, Peter. God bless you, brother. And so guys, you just never know in this wacky business of boxing. Well, we'll see what happens, guys. But I tell you what, we're about 50 minutes into the program, Gogue. Do you have any thoughts on this Saturday's main event on Showtime? Chris Colbert. He's going to take on King Tug, Naim Bayar, in a 12-round main event for Colbert's WBA interim junior lightweight title. Gogue, do you have any thoughts on that?
Hey, you know what, Colbert? I'll be honest. He's improved a lot. He's lost one fight. Is it correct, Joe?
That's right.
Yeah, and when he was coming up, I thought he looked. He was amateurish. He never adapted to the pro game. But since that loss, he's gotten better. So I got to give him props, man. He's he's got better off that loss, and he's starting to come on, come on to his own and everything. And that King Tut's a tough fighter. It's going to be a tough fight for this Colbert. Real solid matchup, let me tell you. So it should be a good fight on Showtime with Colbert and everything. This is a good fight for Colbert. He needs a fight like this, okay, to build up his his image, his resume, okay. So I'm gonna watch that. I'll probably watch that fight and everything. I didn't even know they were fighting, but Colbert still is not known by a lot of people in the boxing business yet. So, but he wins this fight, he'll get a little bit more popular and everything. You know what I mean? That's what you do, Joe. Every time you get a chance to shine on Showtime Championship Boxing against a solid guy like this, you better perform. You better look good if you want to take the next step up to the next level. By the way, Joe, who is the champion at 130 pounds? Gervonta Davis?
Gervonta Davis is the Super WBA champion. Jamil Herring is the WBO. And
Valdez.
Oscar Valdez is the WBC. Yeah.
Who's the WBO champion? Is there
WBO is Jamil Herring. You're talking about the IBF.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Hold on. Let me check it out.
Oh my God. They got fucking more champions than that.
Well, no. Here it is, right? Jojo Diaz was the IBF before he lost it on the scales, and now the title is vacant.
Okay. All right.
So
Okay.
that's it.
Yeah.
Gogue, I tell you what, and if 4 titles weren't enough, now, yeah, you've got the interim WBA, and then you've got the regular WBA. Yeah, it's quite exhausting, Gogue.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
So where does Chris Colbert, in your opinion, where does he hang? Look at the names at 130. Boy, there are a lot of them. Oscar Valdez, Miguel Burchelt, Jamil Herring, Shakur Stevenson.
Joe, he's still got to prove himself. He hasn't even proven himself yet. Okay, this fight with Tug would be a good notch in his on his resume, but he hasn't proven himself. Let's see how he looks, how he performs. Then we could start. Then we'll see where he belongs in the food chain and everything. So.
Absolutely looking forward to this main event on Showtime this Saturday night. Gogue, there's not really much else on the boxing calendar. Yeah, I'll say this. Going back to the Tank Davis dilemma with Floyd Mayweather announcing that he was going to keep everything in-house, it seems that everyone should have seen this all along, Gogue.
Oh, sure.
Because here you have Floyd Mayweather. Well, and once again, he calls himself a 3-division world champion, but in reality, he's a champion at super featherweight with the Super WBA, the only legitimate title that he has. He faced Yuriorkis Gamboa last year and won the regular WBA title at lightweight. Now he beat the regular WBA champion in Mario Barrios at 140. So I think this has been the strategy of Mayweather Promotions the entire time. Have him compete in 3 divisions simultaneously so you don't have to adhere to any one mandatory fighter or any, hot fighter in any one division. It's kind of a brilliant strategy if you think about it from a monetary and business perspective. Your final thoughts on this before we bid everyone a good evening.
Look, Tank's a draw, okay? And he's grown into a pay-per-view star. I gotta see what the numbers are, but when you're a draw and you're becoming a big pay-per-view star, you call the shots. And belts don't mean much. They could do what they want. They could call the shots on who they want.
Yep, and I tell you what, all the while, guys, the fans are going to just consistently have to be okay with pining for matchups against Teofimo Lopez, Vasyl Lomachenko, Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, Oscar Valdez, Shakur Stevenson, because, guys, that's not going to happen. Josh Taylor, just go up and down the list, guys. Those fights are not going to happen anytime soon. Gogue, your final thoughts on this evening's program?
No, it was a lot of fights yesterday, boy. But like I said, Joe, godly, it kind of ruined the experience of watching great fights because there's so many fights going on at the same time, man. Like Lomachenko, I really wanted to see. Then Tank, of course, and I wanted to see Erickson Lubin, change his career around with that performance yesterday. I really wanted to see that one, and there was just so many fights going on. It's just ridiculous, man. I mean, you can't enjoy a great fight if 4 great fights are going on, man. So that was the only thing that pissed me off, man. These guys got to get together, man. And like next week, they should have moved one of these fights. Just like Lomachenko versus that Japanese guys, they should have put it on. They should have put it on next week. So
July 3rd. Yep.
Yeah, so he can have the old Saturday platform for himself, nationwide and everything, man. But god dang, Tank was the fight I really wanted to see, and then you got to compete with Lomachenko. Then that Cesar Martinez, I really wanted to see him. I didn't get to see him, man. So that's what really annoyed me, man. These motherfuckers putting all these fights on at the same time.
Yep.
Fuck.
Well, Gogue, do you have a solution for any of that?
Hell, man. Yeah, I'm a little peasant in this business, man. Me, They need to work with each other. You know what I mean? And but yeah.
Well, look, if you look at the history of all the promoters involved, and I'm going to leave it at this, right? Bob Arum is in the IBHOF for a reason.
Yeah.
Because personal feelings aside, he works with everyone in the business if the public demands it. Matchroom Sport, Eddie Hearn has already shown a willingness to work with everyone. Oscar De La Hoya the same way. Guys, and once again, it's just critical thinking. It's not being a hater. Al Heyman has proven himself to be the biggest obstructionist in boxing.
Yep.
That's it. Coach, I forgot to mention ESPN. Credit to them for picking this up from New South Wales, Australia on July 7th. They're going to be televising in the States. Timothy Zhu, son of King Kostya Zhu, is going to be taking on Michael Zarafa in your 10-round main event at 154 pounds. Coach, what is your scouting report on son of the King Kostya, Timothy Zhu?
He's not his dad. But honestly, Joe, I only see highlights of him and everything. He's creating a big buzz over there down under in Australia. Yeah, he's becoming like a national hero, like his dad and like Jeff Fennick over there. So I'm going to tune into that. Yeah, I like guys like that are regional big draws over there. So, but I've only seen highlights. I've never seen the whole fights of the guy. But I'd guarantee you, he ain't his dad. His dad was a stone cold killer. Costa. Oof.
Okay, very quick, Coach. Floyd Mayweather at 40 versus King Kostya Zhu, prime for prime.
Shit, hell of a fight. Hell of a fight. You know what I mean?
Well, I tell you what, only if. We're going to leave it at that, guys, but that just about does it for this episode of War Week Radio. Thanks to Big James Gogue. Thank you, sir. And guys, if you missed any part of this, all of this content on this show is going to be on Fight Saga within the next couple of days. But on behalf of Coach James Gogue, I'm Joseph Herron. You've been listening to War Week Radio. Happy Sunday.